Is this thing working? How are you tonight, James?
I'm doing great. It's my first time over here running the sound and all, and pushing the buttons. So y'all bear with me
I'm
here.
sorry, I probably brought him in a little too quick there.
Yeah,
Kind
you
of
did.
startled him a bit,
Yeah, you did.
but I kind of did it on purpose because he's new to the stuff over there. He's learning it.
Yep.
And I'm excited because I'm just going to sit over here and talk and watch him.
It's going to get interesting.
It's going to get real interesting. We're going to have a good show tonight. We are going to keep the border front and center. We know there is an election going on. Speaking of election.
Yeah, we got breaking news. Current North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum has just endorsed President Trump at his rally in Iowa today.
Yes.
Yay,
Yay, there we go.
You know,
he had a really good bunch of people out there too in that below freezing weather today.
Yeah, and I think I even said it on one of our previous shows when we were talking about the debates. Me and you said that Doug Burgum made more sense than the others did. I think that was the very first debate when they lined all of them up out there. And even Asa was there that night, remember?
I remember.
People were booing him. Yeah. And then Doug said some sensible stuff, and he kind of backed Trump's policies on a couple of things, man. And before you know it, they cut his mic.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I remember that, but I also knew that this would happen.
Yeah,
that he would eventually be back behind President Trump because he was giving out President Trump's policies, the same thing. So I'm very proud to see that he's backed President Trump because every one of them should when they drop out.
Yeah, and I seen somebody today try to troll me a little bit on that. They said, well, he at first he said he wouldn't support Trump. Now here he comes back and he's supporting him. And I said, well, he don't want to support any of the other candidates. No. That's why.
Yeah. I don't know who would want to support any of the other candidates, but that's just me because I am supporting Donald J. Trump.
Yep.
But we're going to move on. And did you know the border we talked about on our last episode 27, with Abbott and the federal government fighting between each other and everything. So there is that border happening at the border of our country down in Texas. And then
a battle between the state and the federal government.
States. And I think it's going to get kind of wild. I think that's not the last we're going to hear of that. But it also has entered every other state in the union. And tonight we're going to talk about the taxpayers of Maine who have just funded the construction of several brand new apartment buildings for people who illegally crossed our border. People who were lucky enough to get these homes will live there rent-free for 2 years while they apply for work permits. Now, this is in Brunswick, Maine, and we're going to play you a clip of
some Fox News coverage of it. Yep.
Here you go.
Now, free rent for some migrants in Maine. Taxpayers there are footing the bill for new apartments built specifically for these newly arrived border crossers. Not only a free roof over their heads, they have at least, wait for it, 2 years worth of rent paid for.
2 years worth of rent paid for.
Yeah. Man.
For coming into our country.
Illegally.
Yeah. And that's not all.
No.
Yeah. You got more on that.
Oh, I do. The town of Brunswick, who celebrates these new apartments for these unhoused asylum seekers, for years, and I want to tell you a little bit of history.
All right.
The former Naval Air Station base in Brunswick has been undergoing renovations. Businesses have slowly moved in, and housing developments are continuing to pop up on, once again, barren streets. This includes new apartments that for the next couple of years will be serving asylum seekers. So let me ask you this.
They're colonizing them.
They're colonizing them.
But go ahead and ask me.
Doesn't this sound real familiar?
Yeah.
This isn't the first time that we have heard this.
Uh-uh.
You know, I'm so surprised at all the hoopla over Maine building new apartment buildings for these illegal immigrants. They act like it hasn't been happening already. Like in another state, like Texas.
Yeah. Like
Texas
right down the road from us.
I know. Texas built an entire town for illegal immigrants, and the names on the donor list are eye-popping. You know, so I went and I looked, you know, and that's the donors here in Texas. Now I'm going to talk about Texas because it kind of relates to Maine, to what we just read about Maine, because is funded by the Harris family, which is a prominent political donor from Cut and Shoot. The community in Liberty County is now home to the largest settlement of illegal immigrants in the entire country. Over 75,000 illegals now call the area home. Its creation was enabled by the director owner to buy sale of 3-quarter lots in the area to market to illegal immigrants specifically. They're marketing these land, pieces of
they have a program.
land to these illegals.
Yep.
And this has been going on now for 10 years.
Yep.
So they have been slowly, little by little, making these colonies, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, and they're giving them loans. What are they called? ITIN loans.
Yep. That what do? They circumvent
the need for a social
use
security number in the application process. Also, this is what they call it. In this, quote, safe space, we will call it, there is no fear of consequences. They don't have to be afraid of being called an illegal immigrant. They don't have to be afraid of custom enforcement or ICE or police or anyone else bothering them about their immigration status. So it is extremely appealing to immigrants, even though they have to pay outrageous interest on these loans. So what does that sound like to you?
That sounds like they're being a slumlord.
Yes.
That's what that sounds like. Yeah.
And they're getting all this, they're giving these loans to these immigrants and charging an exorbitant amount. Isn't that what these cartels do when they bring them over here?
Well, yeah, and they're just getting exploited even more.
They're getting exploited even more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I will continue to say this is a humanitarian crisis. I just will. But there are 60 new apartments at this one in Maine in 5 buildings. 24 of them are already complete. These units are designed to house the asylum seekers as they wait to receive work permits. That process can take a while, since asylum seekers can't even file for a permit at least 6 months after filing their initial application for asylum.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yes, it is. The state budgeted nearly $3.5 million to provide 60 migrant families in Brunswick with 2 years of rent. Maine expects the immigrants to gain the means to pay housing costs, state support, and guidance. So that right there tells me that they don't care how they make the money.
Yeah.
You just pay me to gain the means.
I thought that gain the means meant to get a job, but
well, I would think that it would say get a job.
Yeah.
So
it should.
Gain the means, because, you know, they can't get a job without a social security number or a green card or anything. So I guess they have to say gain the means.
They'll come
instead
to Texas and buy land down here.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna
and
do.
then go into this little colony.
Do you know Plum Grove is right there beside that too? Plum Grove's not too far from there.
Yeah.
And it only has a population of 753. But then you've got Colony Ridge down there that is 75,000 strong and growing. And that's just bad.
Yeah.
This is all horrible. This is what open borders have done. This has all been planned. This is why they won't close the border. This is why I'm beginning to stand up strong and firm for what I see going on down there at the border with our state government fighting back against this, man, because this has got to stop.
Yeah, it does. And it's becoming clear to me. that this has been planned for a long time. We've told you 10 years at least. Nothing is going to change what is happening. And these illegal immigrants, no matter how hard we want to, think that they're not going to stay, they're here to stay.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to leave.
No, they're not.
But they're also supplying $100,000 to dozens of Brunswick migrants for a year's worth of asylum applications and work authorization assistance. So they're even paying them,
yes,
to become asylum, to fill out an application,
yeah,
and work authorization. The legal support seeks to ensure immigrants receive work approval as soon as possible so they can provide for themselves, reduce pressure on public programs, and help local economies by joining the workforce. It doesn't sound like to me like they're helping any local economy. It seems like they're putting them all off in the colonial so that they can have their own.
They're colonizing them, yeah.
Yes.
Basically is what they're doing with them. Man, it begs the question. It really does. It begs the question. If we were living in a correct world and we were living with a government that done things the correct way, you see what they're willing to do. Why couldn't they do that for the homeless people? And why couldn't they do this for the veterans?
Yes.
Why couldn't they do this for disabled veterans? Why couldn't they take care of the people that fought and now are suffering? They fought for this country, for what they believed was right. And now here they are suffering, and you still kick them in the teeth by doing this right here, man.
Yeah. And what's really a kick in the teeth, I'm reading this article. I just wanted to shout out to Breitbart. But at the end of the article, they say, last year, Maine officials found that about 4,200 residents across the state remain homeless, including more than 1,000 who have been homeless for a long period of time. The situation is exacerbated by sky-high housing prices, where the average single-family home in Maine now sells for a median price of more than $350,000. Meanwhile, housing demand in Maine has grown tremendously, which in return has helped drive up home prices, partially due to mass immigration. Now, the reason why I pointed out this particular paragraph is because the whole article was about the immigrants, Brunswick, how much money every, immigrants and the asylum seekers, and, what's going to happen once they're there and everything. And at the very bottom of this article, do they even mention the people that are homeless, and not one about a veteran?
Right.
And then they talk about how much the price of houses are. Well, my problem with that is, why are the houses so high? Why has everything gotten so exorbitantly high that you have to build apartments to become slumlords to immigrants that aren't even Americans? This is what I don't understand. And this is what I'm guaranteeing you 95% of Americans don't understand right now.
Yeah. And I bet deep down, and if you ask them, they're mad.
Yes.
They see this. This is in your face. In my opinion, it is.
It's in your face.
Yep, it's in your face.
It's like F you, America, and bring in anybody. Yep. I have always said and will continue to say, America is the best country on earth. And I totally get wanting to be an American, but you're not an American by coming here illegally and taking from the taxpayers who have been here their whole entire lives, making America great. Yep. We have been here making America great.
Yep. And to add to that point, everything that we're seeing, the only thing that I know to say, and I pray that we can get this fixed, stolen elections have consequences.
It's time to rise up.
Is this thing working? Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. you know, we couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.